Okay, update. Like, the very day after I completely finished all of the audio and, like, editing the audio together, Cynthia finally posted her response video, and while it clears, like, a little bit up, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna edit what I said in this video for a couple reasons. First of all, this video is more of making up for my own mistakes, and Cynthia's words don't really have to do with my mistakes, if that makes sense. And second, there is one issue she didn't bring up, which I also didn't bring up in my original video, which will be talked about later on in the video. That's another reason. If you can't tell, I'm not using a script for this little part. It's mainly because I just fucking woke up and I really just don't have the energy to write out a script for something that I already made an entire script for. Okay, anyways, video time. Most content creators, especially commentary channels like myself, don't like to make follow-ups, especially if the follow-up involves the creator having to correct themselves. While I also don't like being in the wrong, I want to be a better role model than other creators, and overall improve the standards of the commentary community, even on a small scale. This is what I'll be doing in this video. I want to not only clarify things, but outright correct myself. So, my old Synnibear03 video. A lot of people really liked it. However, just because some people liked it and were able to understand what I was trying to get across, doesn't mean everyone was. Considering how new I was to commentary, and I was for some reason really struggling with whatever ADHD-like disability I have when I was making that video, some misinterpretations happened that were put into my video and thus were put into the public eye. Also, I will be saving my issues I still have for the end half of the video, so if you want to just see my updated thoughts and not me correcting things, you can skip forward to this time, though I'd recommend staying and watching. Anyways, enough of me talking, let's get into me correcting myself. Starting off with what I regret the most. I really jumped the gun on this. I saw this image and I misread and thought it meant that Cindy knew for a long time she was straight, like, several years. Turns out it was only a few months of her knowing. As someone who greatly dislikes performative bisexuality, and thinking this is what Cindy was doing, I proceeded to jump the gun. All I can say here is that I am greatly sorry for that. This actually caused people to accuse me of being biphobic, despite me being bi. And I mean regular old bi, not that I'm bi, but I'm also biphobic to other people, bisexual. Acting like I'm the Calvin Guerra of bisexuality. SMH my head. Alright, this time more of me clarifying. Now, in my original video, I mentioned that Cindy had maladaptive daydreaming. However, I'm actually not sure about this anymore. One of the first Cindy videos mentioned it and showed some evidence for it, but the video is now deleted. I took some partial hearsay and rolled with it, which I really apologize for. However, some people claim that me mentioning this was ableism. Sadly, my wording was very off, but I do stand with why I mentioned it in the first place. I mentioned it so that people would not attack Cindy for the daydreams themselves, as maladaptive daydreaming is a serious condition, and most people respect mental illnesses, disabilities, and serious conditions in general. I wanted people to criticize Cindy for publicly supporting Birdie and lusting after him in private, telling friends about it who didn't want to hear about this stuff, not the daydreams that originally started said thoughts. Do I understand why some people could have thought I was ableist? Yeah, I absolutely do, and I don't blame anyone for it. However, as stated, it's not the case. Now, Taffy is Cindy's OC that physically and possibly sexually abuses her other OC. This other OC is shown in her Juicy meme. I brought this up in my video, but some people thought I was upset about an abusive OC for some reason, despite no. I called it out because there was no trigger warning until it was mass reported. I believe stories with dark themes can be written and even shared online. However, it needs to be tagged properly and done in a way that's not romanticizing the issue it portrays. Honestly, this is just a silly and short little issue, so let's continue. Alright. The DMs, or maybe private server messages, or group chat, it's really not clear. Recently, and I want to make it clear, after my video came out, it's become hearsay that these were private conversations and thus shouldn't have been used. Now, ignoring the fact that I thought these were locally sourced screenshots, and by locally sourced, I mean not taken from private conversations, I'm going to take this moment to answer a question. Is it okay to use DMs as an argument? Well, it depends. In the case of Cindy and her venting about her intrusive thoughts, no. It's not. Unless it was her saying that stuff to people who clearly didn't want to discuss it. But her transphobia? Yes, it should be used. Just like if someone is grooming minors or being abusive. If it's something that puts people at risk, it could and should be brought to light. Even so, I apologize for presenting the non-important screenshots. From now on, I'll do a lot more digging around crop screenshots to make sure they aren't DMs. In my video, I mentioned the fact that Harper says that Synni was somewhat abusive to her. We only had Harper's side, which was just verbal accounts, but as someone who makes sure to believe victims, I took it as fact. However, recently information that proves the exact opposite has come out. It implies that Harper deleted a DM where they threatened self-harm because Synni upsets her. I am sorry for claiming that Synni abusing Harper was a fact. While I will continue to believe victims, I will not state their stories as fact anymore. I also want to state I don't want to try and cause drama about Harper. I simply want to present the information I have now so that everything is 100% clear. Now, while I may have not liked my wording in my old video, and even disliked some of my original arguments, I still have some issues that I'll be stating. I'll try and keep it short, just so there's no chance of any new drama popping up. Cynthia puts Birdie, who, side note, detransitioned, so I'll be referring to her with she/her pronouns, on a pedestal. Some people argue that it's Synni's loss, that she can simp for Birdie. I would normally say yes, people can make their own bad choices. However, Synni actively posts publicly about Birdie, whether it's doodles, paintings, or even animations for her. Publicly doing this and mentioning Birdie by name so people can go and follow her can make people think that she has changed and improved, despite her still doxing people, still being transphobic, and still being the same old Birdie she has always been. Is it okay for Synni to risk her well-being by being friends with a known abuser? Yes, it's not ideal and she doesn't deserve it, but if she stands by it, then we really can't stop her. Is it okay for her to post about her and say that she's a good person? No, as fans of Synni might trust her and begin supporting Birdie, or hell, even becoming friends with her, which we all know how badly that ends. However, it gets worse. Synni begins to make comics about her and Birdie being in a relationship, despite Birdie having a partner at the time. I'm not going to show specifics, but in general, Synni sexualized Birdie a lot, and was overall pretty creepy. Before anyone says anything, yes, I know Birdie also sexualizes people, but just because she is disgusting towards people, doesn't mean it's okay for other people to be disgusting towards her. Once again, I stand by this point 100%. Cynthia has shown to be transphobic, and that should not be excused. As I stated in my last video, in a now deleted series by Synni, she purposely misgendered a user known as Snowpearl, who very, very clearly said that they go by they/them pronouns. Synni also called them a snowflake and sexualized their OC, talking about their chest and crotch. Synni, more recently, also indirectly said that if trans people don't have surgery, they aren't a real boy or a real girl. This was actually shown in her fantasy about Birdie that she wrote and sent to someone. Once again, I'm showing this DM or private message or whatever it is because of the fact that her transphobia harms people, and that she was actively sexualizing Birdie, who was in a relationship at that time period. I actually forgot to add this into my original video, but Synni has this fun habit of excusing the N-word. Let's start with the fact that she excused Birdie's now ex, Julian, when saying the N-word. Keep in mind, Julian isn't black, and Synni knew this, yet still defended it. I would also like to say, Julian has issued an apology for using these words, so do not attack him over this. Next, we have Synni literally saying the N-word. There's nothing I can really say about this, it's just her, a white girl, saying a racial slur. Also, shut up, I don't care if it's the meme spelling. There's no such thing, it's still a fucking racial slur. My old video, while well-meaning and trying to spread awareness, ended up being pretty bad. With the misinformation I accidentally spread, me misunderstanding Synni, and certain evidence not even being public or mainstream at the time period, I think my whole video did a lot more harm than good, and I'm really sorry for that. I've begun to have my best friend help me with script work, so I won't have any mistakes like this in the future. From now on, my videos will also have higher wording quality. Thank you all for sticking with me this long, and dealing with my bullshit. Anyways, I'll see y'all later. Bye.